Hello, everyone, and welcome to Link Ahead, the City of Dublin podcast. This is another first for Link Ahead in that it's the first time we've taken this recording internationally. My co-host Lindsay is joining us from Dublin, Ireland. Lindsay, this is one of those wow moments for sure. Tell our listeners where you are right this second.
Well, hey, Bruce, and as you mentioned, I am in Dublin, Ireland. So our first international podcast episode, and believe it or not, I just stepped off of O'Connell Street where they wrapped up the Dublin, Ireland St. Patrick's Day Parade.
So, Lindsay, what is the St. Patrick's Day Parade like in Ireland?
It's obviously big. It was about 2 hours long.
Wow.
It is honestly interesting thing. I'm here with Mayor Jane Fox and our community events director, Allison Leroy, and Mayor Fox is saying that our parade in Dublin, Ohio is actually more Irish than the one here in Ireland because we certainly have more Irish dancers and Irish music and things like that. This was just a little bit more representative of their cultural arts. So they have, they're called pageants, and it's almost like mini plays or things like that people are all dressed up and representing stories. So as the parade's coming down the street, you see costumes, and there are narrators talking about what these represent. And that was probably the biggest difference is they have these. I said to Allison, "Do we have pageants in our parades?" And she said, "No, we don't." So I think that's a tradition here, and it was really neat to see. I mean, the costumes are amazing. I'll put some pictures up on social media, but the costumes and everything like that are just really ornate. And the other thing is it's just, there's a lot of pageantry to everything. So we are the guest of the Lord Mayor here in Dublin, and we got to sit in the grandstands in the front row with her and, her family. And she arrived in a 17th century carriage.
Wow.
That dropped her off at the parade right at the grandstands. And she gets out of this carriage and puts on her Lord Mayor chains and comes over and sits next to our group at the grandstand.
And I am here with Lord Mayor of Dublin, Ireland, Caroline Conroy. Thanks so much for being here.
Delighted to be here.
Can you say hello to the people of Dublin, Ohio?
Oh, I want to say huge hello to all the people in Ballyatlia in Ohio.
Wonderful. And have we talked you into coming to visit us sometime soon?
Absolutely. I can't wait. I can't wait to see and experience life in Ohio, Dublin.
Great. Well, we're excited to have you. And we just got done watching the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and you got to be at the grandstands watching it. What did you think?
I have to say it was a brilliant year. We were very lucky with the weather.
We were.
We had rain at the beginning, but then it stopped just as the parade was taken off. So we were very blessed. And I have to say, as being Lord Mayor, it's a privilege and an honour.
And your team has been so gracious the whole time that we've been here. We just are so glad to be here and to be renewing our Friendship City agreement with you. And tell us a little bit about what that means to you.
I think it's very special. It's great to have that relationship with yourselves. We can learn from each other and share ideas and solutions for the people in our cities, and that can only mean a very positive step for our residents in both our Dublins.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and we're having so much fun here and can't wait to invite you to Ohio.
Can't wait.
Yes, Bruce, and she is leading the charge to make a visit to Dublin, Ohio, with some of her people. And like I said, everyone with the City of Dublin government has been wonderful and welcoming, and I can't wait to welcome them all to Dublin, Ohio.
Hey, Lindsay, you've been talking to a lot of people over there.
Yes, in fact, I'm here with Sancha Gibson, who has been our wonderful host for this trip. Sancha, say hello to the people of Dublin, Ohio.
Hello, people of Dublin, Ohio.
And have we talked you yet into coming to visit our city?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be planning and trying to help plan a delegation to go to Dublin, Ohio.
Wonderful. We're so excited for that. And tell us a little bit about what you do for the City of Dublin.
I work in international relations, so it is to do with city-to-city relationships, be it twinning or friendship agreements or memorandums of understanding. I'm working with other cities to learn from them or to exchange ideas
And which one was your favorite Friendship City?
Dublin, Ohio.
Of course, of course. I bet you say that to all of your Friendship cities. But, well, we appreciate it. You've been so hospitable, and we've learned a lot from you.
You mentioned Mayor Fox. Let's dive into the official stuff a little more. She in Dublin, Ireland, Lord Mayor Carolyn Conroy, they signed a memorandum of understanding between the two cities to renew our relationship of mutual cooperation in a wide range of areas. So can we talk about those areas for a second? Like culture, smart cities, citizen engagement, low carbon city. What are you guys talking about?
We are here on official business to renew our Friendship City agreement with Dublin, Ireland. And, a lot of people might not understand that the idea of these friendship cities isn't just, to say that, you have the same name we have or whatever and kumbaya. They have, we have official memo of understanding where we will do exchanges. And so a couple of the things that we've been talking about as part of the agreement are some of our shared goals. So sustainability, connectivity, things like that we've been talking about in Dublin, Ohio. They have some of the same goals here in Dublin, Ireland. And as you mentioned, culture. So that's the biggest one that we've been talking about is just our Dublin Irish Festival and using that as an exchange so that they can come see a little bit about our culture. And as I mentioned, we're learning a lot about their culture too and how broad it is. There's the traditional Irish culture, which you'll see, on display at the Irish Festival. But their current culture, embraces a lot of that, but is very complex as well. So we've been learning about their performing arts, their cultural arts, like I said, the pageants and the parades. And so we're just learning a lot from them. And then we know that they'll be able to learn a lot from us when they come and visit Dublin, Ohio.
Right. I mean, it's great to get that global vision because they've been around a lot longer than Dublin, Ohio. So they've probably run into some of the issues we had like a couple hundred years ago. But just to have that interaction and ask how or why is huge for you guys.
It's been really interesting, and they were asking, what some of, the biggest things facing us are right now. And of course, some of them are a lot different. They don't have, the same funding mechanisms that we do, and their development is completely different than ours. So they have, they're in a constant state of redevelopment. They don't have the luxury of undeveloped land here in the city. So those things are different. But we do share the same goals in terms of sustainability. And Ireland, being an island, they are very concerned about environmental sustainability and climate change and things like that. So they had several of their pageants in their parade were actually themed around, taking care of the climate and reversing the effects of climate change and things like that. So we do have, a lot of shared things in that way.
Well, while we're still talking about Ireland, I feel like we kind of need to harp on the fact that what is Ireland like itself? How big are the economic players and what's the population like?
Oh, that's so interesting. They're actually about 500,000 people. So 500,000 people within the city limits. So just a little bit bigger than our 50,000 in Dublin, Ohio. And obviously one of their biggest economic drivers is tourism. So they are, glad to have people like me and Allison and Mayor Fox here, visiting and all of our friends who are all here for St. Patrick's Day weekend. And the other thing that's really interesting is they have a big Intel presence.
Really? So
we've been chatting a lot about that. They have an Intel chip plant here as well. And so just kind of talking about that and, that's been here for a while and just kind of the economic impact that it's had on their city. But they have, so a lot of the same players that we have in the United States and then, of course, tourism.
Well, to stay on that tourism theme, I know you are a born traveler and a born knowledge seeker, so you truly love this stuff. So why should Dublin, Ohioans maybe think about putting Dublin Island on their travel wish list?
Oh my goodness, well, it's already on my list again because I need to come back when I can, have more time and less work to do. I mean, we've been here, we signed the agreement. We spent a wonderful day yesterday with City of Dublin, Ireland officials just kind of telling us about some of the cool projects that they've been working on and the innovative initiatives that they're going on. So we did a little bit of that, information and knowledge transfer, knowledge share. So it's been great. It's been so informative, but I would love to come back here and get a little bit out of the city limits and see some of the rolling country and the hills and all of that they have going on. So, but it's a great city. 500,000 isn't. That's not a huge city.
Right.
So it feels like a medium to large size city. The public transportation has been extremely easy to navigate. I'm, pretty much an idiot when it comes to trying to get on a subway or, things
Right.
that we don't have in Central Ohio. And it's been really, really, really easy to get around. And of course, the people are just incredible. Everybody's very welcoming. And they'll strike up a conversation with you. They hear you, talking about what you're doing, or they see you, looking lost or something, and they're just really quick to come up and say, "Oh, wait, where are you heading?" and things like that. And so it's just really been a fantastic experience. And so I would really encourage anyone to come visit here. It's rained a little bit, and I think that they are a little bit known for that. So we packed layers and rain gear and umbrellas, and people have been nice enough to give us even more and more umbrellas. So we're pretty much good to go. But it's warmer
Lindsay,
here than it was.
I hate to tell you, but the weather in Dublin, Ohio is really not that much different right now. So
I was going to say, I said it's warmer here. It's a warmer rain than when I left back home. So, we're good. But no, it really is great. We've had a great time in the city, and I'd like to get a little bit more time, but we're heading back soon. So.
Awesome. Now, have you found yourself, after talking and having a conversation with someone with an Irish accent, that you start to creep into changing your dialect a little bit when you start talking?
No, and I certainly do. I sound the same to you? I've been gone for 3 days, right? Do I still sound the same? Okay, well then, no, I guess it would have been amazing if I showed up and had an accent. But it's really interesting that you mentioned that because I have not picked up. I would say the accents that I've talked to people are maybe mild at best.
Okay.
I mean, you really don't notice it. It's not a lot.
Okay.
Which I love people with a good Irish accent, but it's very mild. It's not very pronounced. At least the people that we've been speaking with. In fact, the people who were announcing the parade, the MCs for the parade, I wondered, are they even Irish? They didn't sound like they had an Irish accent at all. So that's been my experience, at least.
So, okay, Lindsay, we have to continue our streak of ending every episode with rapid fire questions, but this time you have to answer them instead of ask them. All right, you're still out.
Okay.
So here we go.
Ready.
You ready? All right.
I'm ready.
What's the most Irish thing you've eaten on the trip?
Okay. Well, so last night I had a stew. I think back home they would have called it an Irish stew, but here it was just stew, and it was delicious.
Nice.
I still have yet to have fish and chips, which I'm intending to have later today.
Nice.
And Allison had bangers and mash last night too, so I at least got to experience that as I was watching her eat it.
Most surprising aspect of Ireland you didn't expect at all?
Well, we talked about the accent thing. It feels a little bit like, if you were in a city back home, like Boston or anything like that. And I think what's interesting is the Irish pubs that we have back home, thinking about Dublin Village Tavern or places similar, they really are similar to what they have here. So in some ways, and we were joking how every city has an Irish pub or 5 or 10, and so you almost feel like you've been here before. It has sort of a very like a feeling of homecoming or comfort, because you're like, oh, this is really what it's like. So kudos to people in the United States who do a good job of replicating that, because it feels very authentic.
Was the parade, and I think I know the answer, was the parade bigger or smaller than you expected?
It was bigger, longer, and different. Like I said, it's just a little bit different. There's just a much more of a variety of things that you see than our typical parades with just dancers and bands and things like that. There's just a lot more going on.
If it must be one word, the people of Dublin, Ireland are blank.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll go with gracious and just so welcoming and generous, very generous with their time. We absolutely have to thank the city of Dublin and the people who've been helping us, just for giving hours and hours and hours of their time to help us immerse us in their city, both the community and their city government. It's been a pleasure, and everyone has been just so gracious and welcoming. Everywhere we go, they offer us tea and want to sit down and have a conversation with us. It's not like, hey, here's a tour of our building and a PowerPoint. Right. It's like they really want to have a good conversation with us. So that's been really great.
That is awesome. Well, Lindsay, I know this was not easy to put together, and thanks to our engineer, Scott, for putting this all together. I wish you safe travels, and we'll see you back here stateside in a few.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce, and thank you for holding down the fort back there in Dublin, and I'll be back soon.
Awesome. And to our listeners, thank you for taking time to connect with your city. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the many personalities and experiences that make Dublin a thriving place to live, work, and grow.